Thank you guys all so much for joining us. Here we go. Week 2 of the NFL season. Beat the line on Pub Sports Radio. Let's get to work. We start Thursday, September 16th at 8:20 p.m. Eastern. New York Giants, who opened up their season with a loss at Washington football team, who's also 0-1. Second straight home game for Washington at FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. First, we'll take a look at what the market has done, and we'll pull up where the cash has gone. And then we'll break it down. First off, the Giants open up as 4-point dogs. That moves to 3 at most books. Pinnacle, Heritage are still offering the Giants minus 3.5 at plus money. So is Bet Online at plus 100. The rest of the books have moved to a 3, a juiced 3. This total opened up at 42.5. We see 40.5s on the board everywhere, really, except for Sports Interaction. So the cash flow here, we have 8,070 tickets in. Again, this is Tuesday night at 8:14 p.m. Eastern, so a lot will change in 24 hours when this kicks off. So it kicks off in 24 hours and 6 minutes. And the line predictor keeps saying that the New York Giants will go to plus 3 at plus 105 or plus 3.5 at minus 120, depending on what you want. And here we go, 8,070 tickets in. On the spread, 52% of the tickets and 52% of the cash on Washington, and the market quickly moving towards the New York Giants. On the money line, 56 and 70% for the Giants. 56% of tickets, 70% of the cash. Then for the total, we have 54% of tickets on the under, but just 22% of the cash. That's a very, very interesting spot. So some cappers thinking that 40.5 is too low. Tommy Gunn says, I originally liked the over 42, but Fitz out changed all of that. Giants got their season off the ground with a disappointing start. 27-13 home loss to the Broncos. Daniel Jones, 22 of 37 for 253 yards. Threw a 37-yard touchdown to Sterling Shepard, but he was up to his old gaffes. He was up to his old tricks. Lost a fumble in the red zone with the Giants down 27. It was a backbreaker. Saquon Barkley did not look good. 10 carries for 26 yards. Bebsie, I really want you to touch on Saquon. His longest run was 5 yards. This Giants defense could not step up when they needed to. The Broncos were 7 for 15 on third down and 3 for 3 on fourth down. And then Pro Bowl tight end Evan Ingram, of course, missed the game with a calf injury. Washington opened the season with a tough 2016 loss at home versus the Chargers. Ryan Fitzpatrick, they lose him to a right hip injury midway through the second quarter. He's on injured reserve. He'll be out for 6 to 8 weeks. Heineke comes in. So please touch on this as well, Bebsie. Fitz did not look good in that quarter and a half. 3 of 6 for 13 yards, rushed once for 2 yards. Heineke came in and did look good. 11 for 15, 122 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Also, Antonio Gibson ran 20 times for 90 yards, but he fumbled the ball twice, losing once. The fumble was extremely costly. Montez Sweat and Jonathan Allen each had sacks, but the Chargers were able to go 14 for 19 on third down. No team was better on third down in week 1 than the Chargers. Herbert gashed Washington secondary for 337 yards. William Jackson did get an interception. A lot of things to talk about. Let's start with the Giants. Your expectations for them here as a dog. Do you agree with the market movement, first of all? What do you think is going on with Saquon Barkley? And take it away.
Look, I do. I understand why they're a dog. The Giants have been pretty much the worst team in the NFL for the last 4 or 5 years now. They just collectively, they cannot get it together. I don't think hiring Jason Garrett as an offensive coordinator is helping. Daniel Jones he's not making that jump that everybody thought he might. You know, he had promise in his rookie season. He occasionally throws a nice ball, and then he occasionally throws one of the worst balls I've ever seen. He doesn't protect the ball, and they're just not getting it together. And I said on Tuesday's show last week, I don't know how much this team is going to be behind their head coach right now, especially after that crazy pile-up disciplinary thing in preseason. I just don't think this team believes in each other. I don't think Saquon Barkley right now believes in himself, let alone the rest of the team. I mean, this is a guy he's just been hurt for the last 2 years. The ACL last year, the high ankle sprain the year before. He doesn't get blocks. I think his confidence is shot, and I just don't see this football team righting the ship anytime soon. Look, the Giants have some pieces on that team that should be a lot better than they are. They are not performing, and I think a lot of that falls on the head coach. But, geez, I just can't. I can't get behind the Giants at all right now.
Interesting. Now, Birdie, and we have the pleasure of hopefully capping with him all season long. That'd be good to him. Sharp dude.
We do love the Birdman.
I do. I really do. I do this all day for hours and hours and hours, and my success is the most important thing really in improving my life. And I watch how sharp he is. He jumped on the Giants +5 Saturday. He says he still likes them at 3.5. Dommy Gun says +3.5 division dog Thursday night. All point to the Giants. Yet you don't feel that way. And at this point, with the market moving so quickly on the Giants for Thursday, I feel like I've missed it and am completely willing to let it go. I didn't bet on the Thursday night opener, and it would have been a casher. And I won my week in the football pool. I was on the Cowboys in the pool, but I was afraid to put money on. I just needed to get off to a good start just for my own confidence. Dennis Garcia says, waiting for New York to play a worse defense to take a shot with an over. It's not this week, says Dennis Garcia. So you don't want the Giants, and I've watched you beat NFL for years, and you don't like Thursday nights. What do you think about the move from Fitzpatrick to Heineke? And what do you think about this vaunted Washington defense allowing the Herbert to do whatever he wanted on third down? Take it away.
Well, I think that's a combination of a rough start, obviously, but look, Justin Herbert was phenomenal last year. He picked up right where he left off. He's got some weapons. He's got a revamped offensive line. They needed to hit the ground running. They did. Washington didn't. The move to Heineke, it's the obvious move because your starting quarterback was injured, but I mentioned this on Tuesday last week. Fitzpatrick was the bridge guy for Heineke. Well, not really a bridge guy. They were more or less still trying to figure out what they have in Heineke because he played a few games down the stretch last year, looked pretty good. So this is kind of I'm not going to say it's a good thing, obviously. We don't want to see anybody get injured, but it's something it's an easy move for this team because they want to see what they have in Heineke anyways. So I'm curious as well. The jury's out. He hasn't played enough. When he has played, he's looked good at times. But I think this defense bounces back. There's just too much talent in that front seven to be abysmal week in and week out. And look, they had a tough opponent last week. They don't have a tough opponent this week. I'm not gonna reiterate everything I just said about the Giants, but I think this is a good spot for Washington's defense at the very least to right the ship. I am expecting a pretty low score. If I was to bet something in this game, which I'm absolutely not, I did find a first quarter play for Washington. I think it's first quarter -0.5 at +120 at Bet365. That's almost enticing enough for me to want to break my rules, but I broke rules on the weekend and it hurt me, so I'm not going to. But that's the look that I would play were this not a Thursday night game. Home team playing a shaky Giants team. Who knows? Danny Dimes might throw a pick six to start this off, and that's an easy cash. But that would be my look in this one because I don't have a ton of faith over the whole game because right now both of these teams got to get it together. Great stuff coming in from the chat. Except for Prince of the City. Who will come through in a bit, but shit versus shit was his first comment. Danny Lopez says Heineke is no Herbert. Look for Washington's front to have a better game. And Dennis Garcia says Taylor Fitzy, 0-point adjustment. Can you touch on that very quickly? I want to move on, but Taylor Fitzy, 0-point adjustment, says Dennis Garcia. Taylor Fitzy, 0-point adjustment. I completely agree with Dennis on this. I don't see a big shift in it, and I think I touched on that last Tuesday. There's a love affair with Fitzy, and a lot of it comes from him being fun and comical and having a sense of humor about himself. The guy's played for like 20 teams. He was He broke an NFL record starting week 1 for his 6th different franchise. The only reason he's doing that is because he's not very good. So there's a love affair that we have with Fitzy. We forget that he's really not that great. I don't think the shift to Heineke is much of a drop.
I often talk about the psychology behind winning and losing. I often talk about a book called The Undoing Project by Michael Lewis, which for me was the best gambling book I've ever read in my life and had nothing to do with gambling. When you are winning and you're up money and you see that fucking money and you can taste it, feel the fucking cash, you don't make the same risks. You don't need to. You don't reach. You make smarter decisions. When you start losing and you start piling up a few losses, you start risking. You start looking for bigger lines. You start looking for ways to fix things in a hurry. So I think my card is going to be light today, and I think it's a good thing. I'm going to sit back as a fucking winner and feel good about this shit. So there's
you don't need to get too excited and start making silly decisions. That's what I did with my props on Sunday. I apologize. I will be more disciplined. I tried to break the stigma of being a coward, and you know what? I'm gonna go right back to being me. Huge coward.
Well, if you had have stuck with that, you'd be 3-1 because you wouldn't have made prop bets for week 1. But look, Bebsie, we're just getting started, and you are so upset about your week 1, and you're just 6-7. So a lot of opportunity for you to get that shit back. Razor Sharp picks in the house of Shot Time. This is extremely serious shit, Razor, and we got to stay focused. That's your Thursday nighter.